All right, welcome to our New York Giants Preservation Society meeting for tonight, July 27th, 2023, with Bob Lemoine. Bob has contributed to the new Willie Mays book, Five Tools, and everybody in here has talked that the name should be Six Tools or more, but we'll get with that with Bob later. Just some housekeeping here. I want to congratulate Judge Jim Mully, who's been named the New York Giants Preservation Society East Coast Recruiter. By that, I mean Jim asked for buttons and cards and stuff, so I bestowed that title on him, which he gladly accepted. So, all tongue-in-cheek, of course.
Here's a 1912.
Very nice. Thank you, Mars. For those interested in contributing to the fight toward autism, Friday night is Autism Day at Oracle Park, and the reason I bring it up because we had Will Clark on here, and he's instrumental in organizing that event in San Francisco. So if you want to contribute, that is up to you.
You have to send the check to what?
You said Autism Speaks
To the Giants?
It's a website.
I sent out a link, but
I know.
There's a website.
Yeah, there's a website, and you can look up Clark. I think I sent it out a week or so ago.
You did it last year too, Gary.
You did it.
Next Tuesday is the trading deadline. We don't have a meeting. We have our meeting on Thursday. But if something huge happens, I might open up the room and send out people if you want to talk Giant baseball and curse out their moves, lack of moves, bad moves. Maybe you'd be happy they made a good move. We shall see. Next Thursday, we have John Rosengren returning. John wrote the great book on Juan Marichal and John Roseborough. The book he's going to be discussing is The Greatest Summer in Baseball History, How the 73 Season Changed Us Forever. It is the 50th anniversary of his publication that he wrote. It is now available on paperback. The name got changed a bit, and it'll be worth your while. A lot of great things happened in 73, and Mays will be discussed as he was helped the Mets get to the World Series. But without further ado, I want to thank Bob Lemoine for joining us. Bob, welcome to the New York Giants Preservation Society.
Thank you very much.
The floor is yours.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I'm glad to be with you guys tonight. As Gary mentioned, I contributed to that book. I'm interested to hear how many tools you think there are out there of Mays. When the word went around that they were doing this book in honor of Willie Mays and they were gathering, do you have any ideas for articles? You can think about how many different games and how many different things you could talk about. The one thing that stuck out in my mind is the Willie Mays song. And I don't know anything about it. Now, for me to even be on here talking about music is really a laughable thing, because probably many of you in this room know more about music than I do. I grew up in a pretty conservative religious household. The radio was not part of my life. And so I've been spending my adult life catching up on things. So it's kind of laughable. But at the same time, I wanted to get into that because it was something completely different. I'd never researched any music before. And then sure enough, there was not one song. There was a half dozen of them, and they were all right in 1954, and right after he comes back from the war and everything. And so I just kind of followed this trail out, and my article wound up going into some of his TV appearances. He was on What's My Line? He shows up on Bewitched. So I kind of put a whole scattering of different things into this article and just put it out there. And so what we'll focus on tonight, since Gary said you're pretty interested in the songs themselves. So there's 6 different songs. So I think what we'll do, Gary said he can run the music from his spot. So what I'll do is I will give a little bit of information on the song. We'll listen to it, and then if you have any comments or if you have any questions, I probably can't answer them because I probably don't know more than what I'm telling you. But you might have some comments about the song or what you might know about it. The first one is going to just be the Say Hey song that we're all familiar with, written and sung by the Treniers. This was, of course, right after Mays comes back from Korea, and PR guy Ted Warner wanted a song to represent Willie Mays. Had been involved with Jackie Robinson All-Star Tour and things like that. So he thought a song would really help build up Willie Mays. So he goes to Dick Kleiner, who is syndicated columnist whose career spanned well into the 80s. He probably interviewed thousands and thousands of people. And Jane Douglas, who was a music performer. And apparently Kleiner wrote the lyrics to this all in one weekend, gave it to Douglas, and she put the music to it all in the next weekend. So they got this song together, and they interest Marv Holtzman of Epic Records, which was part of Columbia. And they said that they were very interested in the song if you could get Willie Mays on the song itself. And so that's why we hear Mays as part of this. The Treniers were twin brothers, Claude and Cliff. They were an act out of Las Vegas. They were actually one of the first Black groups to perform on the Strip out there. Don Hill was on the sax. Gene Gilboa, I believe you pronounce it, is on the piano. And they were later joined by brothers Milt and Buddy Trenier in 1951. So by the time they get to this song, it's produced on a 45 RPM. And a lot of people don't know that a very young Quincy Jones is in leading the orchestra on this song. So that should be the first link there, Gary.
All right, let's see if we can get this to work.
Go under the first one there.
Yep.
We got that. Okay, that's not the. Go back to the links there. Oh, wait a minute. Is that right?
That is the top one.
By the Treniers. Okay,
Yep,
I'm
that's
sorry.
them.
Go ahead. Yep, go ahead.
All right.
Okay.
Ball's wearing left field. I don't care what field's in. Willie plays all field. Every time we come to the game, he's talking about Willie plays all of it. That's right. You just call Willie and ask him. Call. Okay, hey Willie. Yes. Are you Willie, man? Yes. Whose ball was that? Why was it? In left field. Well, that's Evans' ball. I told you that. Every time we come to the game, we got to talk about it. The next time I'm gonna sit in the grandstand. Say, hey, fella, what's your name? Say who? Say Willie. Say hey. Say who? Swinging at the plate. Say hey. Say who? Say Willie. That Giants is great. When he hits the ball, it's long gone man. It's more than everything. Swing the bat back, left leg right, and he reach the ball. It's over right. Say hey, say Willie. Say hey, swing it at the plate. Say hey, say Willie. That Giants is great. He runs the places like a choo-choo train, swings around like an aeroplane. His cap flies off with the rest of the good, and he heads home like an eagle bird. Say hey, say Willie, say hey, swing it at the plate. Say hey, say Willie, that Giants is great. Yes, he covers center like he had jet shoes. The other batters get the Willie blues. Anything hit his way is out. Then he just don't pay. Goes down the clock. Say hey, say Willie. Say hey, swing it at the plate. Say hey, say Willie. That Giants game is great.
Well, we got most of it anyway.
Really sad, he's a good sound. He left the church in an awful jet, but now he's back and it's real short. And Willie still on the rolling rock. Say hey, say Willie.
Well, be sure the settings.
Say get out your way, say hey, say Willie. That time it is great. That time it is great. Say Willie. You're gonna say, hey.
Okay. One thing I forgot to do was I have a document that has the lyrics to some of these songs. So I'm going to put that into chat. You can view that. I don't think you needed the words for that one, since you're probably very familiar with it. Does anybody remember where they were the first time they heard that, maybe?
I wasn't born, so I can't speak for anybody else.
I remember it quite well.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, you know, we've had people talk about Mays, and most of it's about, you know, his great performances on the field. I thought tonight would be a little extra special and different. That's why I asked Bob to do this. So Bob's talking about all these songs, but he'll be able to answer any questions about, you know, the TV appearances and other things as well. Sorry to interrupt, Bob.
Oh, no, no problem. Okay, so the second one is called, and a lot of these songs all have some variation of Say Hey in them almost. This one is Amazin' Willie Mays by the King Odom Quartet. That was composed of David King Odom, David Bowers, and brothers Isaiah and Cleveland Bing. They actually got a contract and were on the NBC radio show Swing Time in 1949. The group had disbanded by 1952, but when presented this possible song, David Odom assembled a group of singers, which from what I found, nobody knows exactly who they all were. But David Odom kind of got a group together to put together this song, which was for Perspective Records and was done on a 78.
Let me try that again.
Cause I want to see American Willie, who got us on a hit just when we needed it. Amazing Willie May, who raced to catch the ball way out against the wall. Amazing Willie May, who has a snappy style, who has a winning smile, who gets the ball around, who makes the plays, who's the Shout, amazing Willie. Say hey, say hey, kid. Let's see you make another catch the way you did. Say hey, say hey, say hey, boy. You're making all the giant rooters jump for joy. Who has a super rock? Who has a special job? Amazing Willie. Who has that extra spark? Who makes the game alive? Who brings the park? Who makes the plays? Who here I have the power? Who let the people shout? Amazing Willie Mays. Say hey, say hey, say hey, kid. Let's see you make another catch the way you did. Say hey, say hey, say hey, boy. You make it know the giant will just jump for joy. Who got a solid hit just when we needed it? Amazing Willie Mays. Who has the snacker style? Who has the style? Who hits the ball and not who makes the face? Who's the run? Amazing Willie Mays, what a player. Amazing Willie Mays, say amazing Willie.
That must be because of internet connection or something that just doesn't come in great. I've never done much with videos on this, on Zoom. Hey, Mars,
Yes.
you got your hand up?
Well, yeah, I don't remember that song, but I remember, I think I remember listening to the first one you played around 1954 when he came back from the service. I don't think he was in Korea. I think he was maybe in Germany, and he played baseball the whole time like Ted Williams. Well, I'm not like Ted Williams, but Ted Williams actually was in combat.
Mm-hmm.
But Mays was never in Korea. I don't believe.
Mars, why don't we save the other question for later, okay?
Sure.
This one's giving me a little trouble. I'm gonna put it in here.
Did I put the wrong link in?
Looks like Piano Man. I don't know.
Hold on a second. Let me see if I can.
I could try to find it if necessary.
Yeah, if you go into YouTube and just put that
Yep.
in. Yeah. So the next one is Say Hey Willie Mays by the Singing Wanderers. The Wanderers were what one music historian called a pop jazz group that was too pop for R&R era, and too jazzy for success as rhythm and blues. It was led by Ray Pollard, Frank Joyner, Robert Yarborough, and Shepard Grant. They later became the Singing Wanderers and actually appeared in the 1955 film Rockin' the Blues.
Bob, which one do you want? The top or the second? I assume they're the same, or
yeah, I think the top one should be it.
okay, sounds good.
There's a little thrill within the heart, who gets bluff, a horse fight killer that's rough and tough. Fans by the million of singing his praise. Got an arm like the Maggio, runs like crop. Could this be sneaker back on the job? Makes flippy dumpy with his magical face. Believe it or not, when the president flies, God will crown him prince of spot. It really keeps on amazing. I'm not about it or about it, son, but he'll be the daddy when the milk is done. So put all your money on the Birmingham Mix. He runs like a rabbit, south and a fox. Got home run at December, that is box. He felt that ball and said, oh, fence and fall away. He got kind like an eagle, watch in the sky. It just ain't legal how he snag a fly. The man he's calling. Grab that ball, almost gone.
Felt that fall so far away. Felt that fall so far away. Well, there's a story told that we believe is true. The Lord made you and lost the most, so there's only one of you. The baseball all afraid. Scraps all righty down where they stay. For me is the bird to a national game. Well,
Sorry, everyone, that the music isn't going that great on that.
Sounds good to me.
And not only is the music not great, the songwriters are terrible.
Yep.
What do we got? Night Riders?
Yes, this one, Say Hey, a tribute to Willie Mays by the Night Riders. They were an ensemble in the 40s and 50s. Let's see, is that one in archive.org and not on the sheet, Gary? It might be on a different site.
No, it's on this one.
Oh, okay, okay.
Should I hit it? Bob, you want me to hit it?
Yeah, go ahead.
there's a big grandma, got a big inside the grandma. Yes, a reason on the field, the biggest thing still says. How it feels, everyone with his own run. Then side of the field, through your mouth to the field. Go the long side ball, head nose to the wall. Don't worry about the dog. That's all. Just nice one for I'm in the field. Please, it's Bill. Set the TV straight, rip the bat and get that. That goes the ball like a jet. And sail through the cloud, take the roll up the cloud. The first thing you say, I can on the ace.
Wow. Yeah, so that was the Night Riders. Doc Starks, Harry Crafton, Melvin Smith, Jimmy Johnson, Joe Sewell, and that was on a 45 for Apollo Records. And
I got to get to the Gmail now to get back to the other two that we need to get to.
Okay. All right. And so the next one is Say Hey by Johnny Long and his orchestra. Johnny Long was an orchestra leader and violinist in the 30s and 40s, did a lot of dance music. Most notable for playing at FDR's birthday ball in 1941. And this song is actually adapted from the Wanderers version, but was written by Willard Robinson. So it's the same lyrics, put on a 78 for Choral Records. And according to what I read was it became a popular song by the end of this rendition became a popular song by the end of the 54 season.
There's a new dealer on Coogan's Bluff. A horse-eyed killer that's rough and tough. Fans by the millions are singing his praise. Hey, hey, with the gangs. Got an arm like DiMaggio, runs like Cobb. Could this be Speaker back on the job? He keeps dippy with his magical place. Say, hey, Willie. In New York town, believe it or not, when the pennant flag is raising, the Duke will crown him Prince of SWAT if Willie keeps on amazing. I'm not any prophet or prophet's son, but he'll be the daddy when the Duke is done. So put all your money on the Birmingham Blaze. Hey, hey, Willie. He runs like a rabbit, sly as a fox, got home run habits in the batter's box. He bangs at the ball and says, hey, it's over the fence and far away. Got eyes like an eagle, watching the sky. It just ain't legal how he snags a fly. The minute they hit it, he's coming on to grab that ball when it's almost gone. Say, Willie, there's a story told, and I believe it's true. The Lord made you and lost the most, so there's only one of you. So tell me how to love. There's a place in the baseball Hall of Fame where scribes are writing down Willie's name. For he's credit to our national game. Glory to his name.
Well, I think we got most of that one anyway.
Good.
Yeah. So the last one is Say Hey by Ray Anthony and his orchestra. This is the most interesting backstory that I found because Ray Anthony turned 101 this year, so he's still kicking around. And he was given his first trumpet at the age of 5, and as the story goes, he's never put it down since. He was placed onto the Hollywood Walk of Fame 65 years ago. As a teen, he joined the Glenn Miller Orchestra. He performed in World War II. He did a version of the Hokey Pokey. He did a song called Marilyn, which I guess you can figure who that was for. And when she arrived at his dinner party, it was quite the stir. Mickey Rooney was there and Sammy Davis Jr. was there. And so this is just instrumental music and with some Say Hey thrown into it. It was made on a 78 for Capitol Records. Well, I guess that one isn't going to work very well at all. Yeah, you can probably just end that, Gary.
All right.
Yeah. Sorry, everybody, about that. There was no way to really practice this to see how it would come out on Zoom. I've seen other people do music on here, so I don't know what is the tips and tricks on this.
Bob, I think you did a great job with it. They're old records. That's why they sound scratchy.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with the connection and all that, and trying to play one thing here and off for that and everything. But anyway, the article has links to all of these if you want to look these up, or or Gary can share these out. But there's some interesting backstories behind the songs anyway. So I found it pretty interesting. And
like I said, I think what you've accomplished here is terrific, just because, me growing up, I heard the Trenaires and also, Terry Cashman, these other ones I never heard. And it was good hearing these different songs that you were able to find and discuss in the book. Before I turn it over to the other guys, while I'm on the share screen, Norm Coleman and Rick Swig have some questions for you.
okay.
Having to do with his appearances on TV and particular pictures. So if Norm and Rick, I'm going to open this up and you tell me what you need, okay?
Yeah, just show the pictures, Gary. Rick has these great pictures.
It says the transfer. It says the transfer has expired. Is expired.
Okay. How about, can you share the screen with me?
Yes.
I can get the picture up on my screen.
Okay. I'm going to stop the share, and then I'm going to give you I have to stop it on my end, and then I'm going to give it to you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now. All right, Norm, it's all yours.
Okay. Now. Let's see. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so these are all from the same thing, but we don't know what it is. It's Willie Mays performing somewhere as a queen.
Huh.
Are you familiar with this at all? Anyone?
Well, I'm looking back over notes here because, like Internet Movie Database listed a bunch of stuff. Let's see here. How many different? Here. I've never run into that.
Okay, because I can't find it anywhere and Rick can't find it and it's driving us crazy.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you. And also to have to just add in that I appreciate that the songs that you showed us, even if we didn't hear them all now, I wrote them all down. And I want to hear all of them all the way through because they sound like, especially that one by Johnny Long.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty darn good.
Yeah.
So thank you.
This is Audrey in California. There's a site called WorthPoint that has these pictures up for sale. And it says let's see, and it contains the original press release from Worldwide Photos. The back of the photo is stamped with release information. These photos were sent to the entertainment editors of newspapers. If you were growing up in the 60s, you may remember some of these more obscure shows and actors, and then again, maybe not. But he doesn't say why he's being made up as a white princess. It just says that they were sent out in the 60s.
Okay, in the 60s. Okay.
Yeah.
Start. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's called worthpoint.com. And
I've been to WorthPoint, yeah.
Yeah, I just went in and Googled Willie Mays in drag, and it's the first thing that came up.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think about in drag.
Yeah, it's, but there's nothing else. Like if you look, all the rest of everything else that comes up has nothing to do with that. It's all, and even the images for Willie Mays in drag, it's just Willie Mays. There's none of those pictures come up. That's the only thing. It says bizarre 1956 TV Willie Mays in drag, black and white, and it's the photos that you have that somebody's selling.
1956, is that what you said?
That's what it says. Yeah, bizarre 1956 TV
Oh,
Willie
great.
Mays, and it says it's TV.
6.
So yeah, I don't know. I hope he got paid a lot for doing that.
I hope so too. Thank you very much, Audrey. And
You're
thank you,
welcome.
Bob. Thank you, Gary.
Well,
I'm
Matt,
gonna-
we were looking for the date. That's great because
Well,
the date was
here's,
escaping us.
1956 episode of NBC Comedy Hour. I wonder if that. I really can't see this going on TV in 1956. That's crazy.
By the way, Norm and Rick, Audrey is a season ticket holder down the first base line. So go say hello to her.
Okay.
All right.
Mr. Mars, you're first, then Steve, then Renee. Mars, go ahead.
Thank you, Bob, for joining us. I work as a music journalist, so I was the only song I actually could recollect was "Say Hey Willie Mays" was probably the best song.
Mhm.
You referred to Ray Anthony and Quincy Jones. I was pretty familiar with Ray Anthony.
Yeah.
Quincy Jones, by the way, he was the music director of Mercury Records, and he put together the songs for Leslie Gore back in his early days.
Huh.
And I had the privilege years later of at the Blindfold, one of the things at Downbeat, who I worked for many years, they had Clint Eastwood and Quincy Jones talk about their lives. And that was, quite interesting. But the question I have for you is, are there more songs written about Willie Mays than any other ball player?
No.
No.
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, how many were made of DiMaggio? Just the one familiar one we know, right? Or I guess if you're talking about songs that refer to different, I could have gone on and on with Mays because there was actually a heavy metal song attributed to Mays made in the late 90s, which I didn't include on this because I couldn't even figure out the lyrics of the thing. And and stuff like that. But I don't, that's a good question. I mean, how many other ball players have had 5 or 6 songs?
Well, my favorite was actually Simon and Garfunkel referring to Joe DiMaggio.
Right.
But and Say Hey Willie Mays was also a big favorite of mine.
Yeah.
But thank you. That was pretty interesting.
Thank you, Morris. Mr. Rothschild, you're up.
Yeah, I think the last time I saw a capital label like that was Dean Martin's That's Amore. It's a big hit. But getting back to Mays, I'm not surprised, but there are other songs. I wish Larry Hands was on, Gary. Larry gave me a tape, a CD years ago when we were in Cooperstown with just giant songs. But there's one about Mays, which took place at Shea by a young singer. Are you familiar with that one? I don't have it handy here. It's kind of Mays's later days, and he wasn't what he was. But this young fellow, when I say young, he was probably in his 50s and got to see Willie Mays at the end. It's a really good tune. I just don't remember the name. You could probably find it.
I think I know what you're referring to.
If you have that one, I'd love to hear it.
Up to hit a home run. He's like 40. He's come back. I think he's come back to New York. Was that when he came back as the Met?
Yeah, I went out. I'm out at Shea. Kind of like it talks about his skills have diminished.
Yes,
but he's still Willie Mays, and the song is really a good song. I was hoping you'd have that one. But don't go wild over it.
Yeah. Well, I do remember, and I remember looking up, trying to figure out the details of the song, and I found out some of the details were not exactly right, which I guess if you're talking a song, does it really matter on that? But I didn't.
That's interesting. Do you remember which details? I haven't listened to it in a while, but it's a good tune. Someone like Harvey or Hindi would love it.
I'm not sure on that.
Anyway, I was hoping that would be one of the songs you had because it's certainly more up to date. And it was a single singer. It was one guy singing.
Yes,
he was talking more than he was singing. But it was really it kind of a tearjerker for us that remember Mays. When.
Steve, if Bob happens to find it, I'll pass it on to you. Okay?
No problem.
Renee, you are up. Unmute, Renee.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this, and I had a question until you kind of answered it. So I'll add to. I'll change my question. My question, the original we're going to say is you missed one, but then you said there's many others. I would love to see that list of other Willie Mays songs. I love what you played. I really did. It makes me. I have 3 of them already on YouTube. The latest one I got was after the documentary, the Willie Mays documentary from Chuck D. I love that a lot because it refers back and forth. New York in the beginning and all the New York things at the Polo Grounds, and then Candlestick in San Francisco and in New York. So, but I would love to see the rest of that list. I mean, especially the metal, the metal band. I'd be curious to hear that.
What I'll do is I'll send Gary a whole bunch of stuff that I had
awesome.
notes on this. So yeah.
Well, now I'll tell you, you make me very curious. And other than the 3 that I have, I may have more now listening to all this stuff. Thank you.
Thanks, Renee. Mr. Weinberg, you're up.
This was a unique presentation. It really was. I love music, and I guess my affection for Willie Mays goes back to when I first saw him when I was just sort of 9. Willie did not serve in Korea, but he did serve in the military for just about 24 months. He spent most of his induction in Virginia.
Okay, yeah.
Playing baseball.
Yeah.
Which was something that the United States government got right. To send Willie to Korea was a tough place for a lot of people. Yeah. And that's an understatement. But to send Willie Mays there would have been horrible. I think have one comment, and then I'm going to talk about the sixth tool or the additional tools.
Yeah.
Songwriters are poets, and even if they're writing a jingle type song like "Say Hey, Say Willie," they're dedicating their time and their energy to something. And I heard the Treniers. I can't place when I first heard them, but I remember hearing them when the Giants was still here in New York. And my guess is I heard them they were on television. I don't know if the Ed Sullivan Show was on, because Willie, I know Willie and Mickey and the Duke,
yep,
and a lot of other ball players appeared on the Ed Sullivan Show. But
Willie appeared on it when it was still Talk of the Town. Was it Toast of the Town?
Toast of the Town. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And he was actually on the first episode of The Tonight Show. With
Really?
Parr.
Really?
I looked that up, and you can find partial episode of it on YouTube, but not the part that he's on. It shows the very beginning of the episode. But yeah, the very first one.
And very briefly, a couple of years ago, since Gary's been running this soiree, we discussed the fact that Leo DeRocher, I think, was the first to coin the phrase a five-tool player, but he applied it to Willie. And I must say that I don't know that I've ever had an independent thought, but on my own, I concluded that there is much more to Willie Mays. The five tools today are diminished at age 92. Help me out, Steve. He's 92.
Yeah.
He was born in 31. I'm just not sure what year this is, but that's okay. But Willie he still has that sixth sense, that ability to see the whole field, that ability to anticipate a play, that ability to be an on-field manager, that I haven't really defined what that is. Norm Coleman has added a seventh tool, which Norm helped me out. I think it's durability.
Norm's was charisma.
Charisma. Then who had durability?
That was John Shea again, adding. John had 6 and 8.
So we're up to 8, and that's not just joking around. It's something that maybe you can't quantify. It's not like wins above replacement, which I still don't understand, but I actually found a list of wins above replacement. I'm not on baseball, whatever that's called. I like that website. And it had Ruth number 1, Cobb number 2, Barry Bonds number 3, and Willie number 4. Now, I didn't see Ruth and Cobb play, but I saw Willie and Barry play, and I love Barry. He's a great ball player. Willie's beyond great. So if somebody is through war, which I don't know how to do, I mean, it took me a long time to learn long division so I can figure out batting averages. But Willie, people wrote songs about Willie Mays because he was something that you wanted to write songs about it. Thank you very much, Bob, for gracing our meeting. This one, Gary, is right up at the top. This is unique.
The whole idea was it to be unique because we're used to the stats, and I thought this would be a great thing that Bob could talk to us about. Bob, before any other questions, TV or movies, whatever. Top 5. What do you think the top 5 Mays moments are there?
I love the What's My Line episode. He was on that. Let me pull that. Let me just read what I wrote in the article about that, because that was pretty interesting. That was What's My Line, hosted by John Daly. The episode was July 11, 1954. Let's see. the celebrity, I don't think I have to explain the show to you. I think you're probably familiar with what that show was. The celebrity panelists included Bennett Cerf, co-founder of Random House Publishing, actress Arlene Francis, journalist and columnist Dorothy Kilgallen,
Yeah.
These glasses don't do me much good. And future host of the day, Jack Parr. Mays used his high-pitched voice to disguise himself. Francis quickly caught on, asking if Mays was part of the sports world, then involved in baseball, part of the National League, and a member of my team, part of the Giants. And finally, if he had just hit his 31st home run that day, do you play center field? Are you say, hey, Willie Mays? And of course, everybody applauds and stuff like that. There's also some really interesting Merv Griffin episodes where he's hitting the ball into the crowd. They put a wiffle ball thing in there for him and stuff like that, and all that. So,
do you know? Did you sense that he enjoyed his appearances?
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, he seemed to. Yeah.
Thank you. Anybody else with a question? All right, so Bob, the best way to get your Renee, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm being greedy. Okay, so excuse me, Bob, for asking this. Yeah, that list would be fantastic. But you know what? The top 5, that what Gary said, I'd love to see that list. I'd love to see your opinion about that. See that footage. So if you could add that, I appreciate it.
Sure.
Gary, yes, this is different as heck, but man, it's great as heck. It's tasty. Thank you.
You're welcome. So Bob, what is the best way to pick up your entry in the book? The best way to get the book is through Sabre or Amazon?
Yep. Either one. Yes. If you're a Sabre member, you get it as a free ebook. If you are a member, you can download it and all that. But otherwise, just go through Sabre to do that.
Perfect. And listen, Bob, first of all, let's give it up, Bob Lemoine.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bob, don't be a stranger. Hop on board anytime we have a meeting that might interest you.
Sure. Absolutely.
So we will reconvene next week. I am going to hang out here if anybody wants to talk some baseball other than what we just discussed. But Bob, once again, thank you so much for sharing your evening with us.
Thank you, Bob, very much. Thank you.
Okay,
Hey,
thank you.
Gary and Bob.
Yes.
Audrey found the show.
Did she?
ABC Masquerade Party, a game show from 1956 where the celebrities were disguised and contestants had to guess who they were.
Norm,
I actually remember that show.
hey, Norm, you got to go down. Audrey is right down the first base line.
I'll have to go look for her. I'll be
You
there
have to go look for her.
Friday and Saturday, Audrey. I'll be at the ballpark.
I'll be there Saturday. So we're in section 102, right in the front row on the corner.
102 front row. Okay.
Let me, I'll start my video. So
There you go.
hi.
Hi, Audrey. How you doing?
So, yeah.
Bob, thanks again.
We'll
Thank
be
you.
there.
Okay. You come early?
Have a good
Yeah,
night,
because we
everybody.
take the train, and if you don't come early on the train, you don't get on the train. So we'll be there early.
Okay. I'll come down and say hello and thank you.
Okay,
First,
great.
wait, Norm, if Audrey could just mimic me. Go ahead, Audrey. Make fun.
Oh, the first time we took Gary to the ballpark, and we wanted to get a hot dog with a